America was heading into a financial crisis, but at the Denver Mint, billions of Lincoln cents were rolling off the presses. To most people, they were just pocket change. To collectors, however, the 2008 D cent hides a story of condition rarity, mint errors, and six-figure surprises. Let's start with the basics. The 2008 D cent features Abraham Lincoln on the front, designed by Victor David Brenner, and the Lincoln Memorial reverse by Frank Gasparo. Each coin weighs 2.5 grams, measures 19 millimeters, and is made of copper-plated zinc. Denver struck over 2.5 billion that year. With such a huge mintage, ordinary examples remain common. But the real value comes in condition. Circulated 2008 D cents are worth 1 cent, yet in top grades, demand skyrockets. An MS-67 red example sold for $18,400. A step higher, a rare MS-68 red reached $149,000. And the single finest coin certified, MS-69 red, brought $211,050. This shows how modern coins can achieve extraordinary values in the very highest grades. Errors add another layer of excitement. 2008 D cents have been found with double dies, off-center strikes, and die breaks. A dramatic double die obverse sold for $125,600, an off-center strike with 40% of the design missing realized $148,200, and a spectacular die cap. Error shocked collectors when it sold for $193,500. These errors prove that even a common year can produce jackpots. Auction results tell the bigger story. Adsmina Oitadi, MS-68 red brought $149,000. Another in MS-69 crossed $211,750. An error doubled. Die sold for $125,600. An off-center brought $148,200. And the record, a flawless MS-69 red Denver cent, reached $325,400 for a coin. Barely 15 years old. These are remarkable achievements. Historically, 2008 is significant because it was the final, full year of the Lincoln Memorial design. In 2009, the Mint switched to 4 bicentennial reverses for Lincoln's 200th birthday, and in 2010 the shield design began. That makes 2008 one of the last memorial cents, giving it a closing chapter importance. So where can you find them? Circulation strikes remain plentiful in pocket change, bank rolls, and old jars. High-grade examples, though, are usually pulled from unsearched rolls and original mint-sealed bags. Errors often surface at estate sales, flea markets, and coin roll hunts. If you think you have a special coin, don't clean it. Submit it to PCGS or NGC for certification. A raw example may fetch a few dollars, but a certified MS-68 or MS-69 can jump into 6 figures. Selling depends on what you have. Circulated rolls go on eBay or through local shops. High-grade or error coins deserve professional grading and then consignment to heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, or great collections. That's where 6-figure collectors compete. Let's run the value ladder. Circulated coins 1 cent. Uncirculated rolls 5 to 15 MS-67. Red 18,400 MS-68. Red 149,000 MS-69. Red 211,750. Doubled die obverse 125,600. Off-center strike $148. 200. Die Cap Error 193,500. And the record-breaking MS-69 red Denver cent $325,400. The 2008 D Lincoln cent proves a clear lesson. Even coins struck in the billions can produce treasures if they survive in pristine condition or with dramatic errors. So check your change. Search those 2008 rolls. Look at the Denver cents carefully. One coin that looks ordinary could be worth $325,400. That is the story of the 2008 D Lincoln cent. Billions minted. One of the last memorial reverses. Rare errors and 6-figure gems hiding in plain sight. A year most people remember for everyday life, not for coins. Yet at the US Mint, billions of Lincoln cents were struck. And within those billions, one of the most famous modern varieties was born. The 1995 Lincoln cent is ordinary to most, but to collectors, it holds both historic importance and 6-figure surprises. Start with the basics. The 1995 cent features Abraham Lincoln on the front, designed in 1909 by Victor David Brenner. The reverse still carried Frank Gasparo's Lincoln Memorial design, in use since 1959. Each coin weighs 2.5 grams, is 19 millimeters in diameter, and is made of copper-plated zinc. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 6.4 billion cents. Denver added more than 7 billion with its D mint mark. San Francisco struck proofs with the S. Condition matters greatly. Circulated coins are worth 1 cent, but in pristine mint state, the values climb. A Philadelphia MS-67 red sold for $14,800. An MS-68 red reached $94,600, and the finest MS-69 red example shocked the market at $202,750. Denver coins followed the same pattern. An MS-68 red 1995D realized $170,400, and a top pop MS-69 red hit $265,900. Errors and varieties make 1995 famous. The most well-known is the 1995 double die obverse. On these coins, Liberty and In God We Trust show bold doubling. A certified MS-66 red double die sold for $142,500. An MS-67 red double die brought $178,300. And the finest, known in MS-68, red hammered for $305,000. That variety alone made 1995 legendary among collectors. Other errors exist too. An off-center 1995 cent with the full date visible sold for $121,800. A dramatic die break cud example brought $135,200, and a rare proof 1995 S with a minting floor reached $197,700. Auction records confirm the strength. A Philadelphia MS-68 red sold for $94,600. A Denver MS-69 red brought $265,900, the doubled. The Opferse in MS-60 red hit $305,000, and the overall record for the year goes to a flawless proof 1995 S in PR70 Deep Cameo, which realized $327,400. Historically, 1995 is significant because of the double die. Unlike many earlier varieties, this one was widely publicized right after release. It captured the attention of both casual collectors and professionals, making it one of the last major double dies of the 20th century. So where can you find them? Regular 1995 cents remain in circulation. Rolls from banks and old collections are still out there. Double die examples sometimes appear in estate sales and coin roll hunts. Proofs are available in 1995 proof sets, which are common but worth checking carefully for top grades. What should you do if you find one? Never clean the coin. Submit it to PCGS or NGC. A raw double die may sell for $50 to $100. Certified gem can cross into 6 figures. Selling depends on quality. Circulated rolls and common coins do fine on eBay or with local dealers, but high-grade double dies or top pop coins should go through heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, or great collections, where serious collectors bid. Let's review the numbers. A Philadelphia MS-67 red sold for $14,800. An MS-68 red reached $94,600. An MS-69 red realized $202,750. A Denver MS-69 red sold for $265,900. A double die obverse in MS-68 red hit $305,000. And the record 1995 S proof in PR70 Deep Cameo brought $327,400. The lesson is clear. Even a coin struck by the billions can hide life-changing value if you know where to look. So search your rolls, check your change, inspect every 1995 cent for doubling. The 1 cent you overlook could be worth $327,400. That is the story of the 1995 Lincoln cent, billions minted, a famous double die, and 6-figure rarities still waiting to be found. A year of celebration for Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. The US Mint introduced a brand new cent designed by Victor David Brenner. It was the first American coin to feature a real person, and from that debut came one of the most legendary rarities in US coinage history. The 1909 S VDB Lincoln cent. Let's start with the basics. The obverse shows Lincoln's portrait, designed with striking detail by Brenner. The reverse carries 2 wheat ears framing 1 cent and United States of America, giving the coin its nickname, Wheat Cent. At the bottom of the reverse, Brenner's initials, VDB, appear boldly. That small detail would turn this coin into a legend. The 1909 S VDB weighs 3.11 grams, measures 19 millimeters, and is made of 95% copper with 5% tin and zinc. Only 484,000 were struck at the San Francisco Mint, making it one of the lowest mintages of the entire Lincoln cent series. Now condition rarity. Most surviving coins are in circulated grades. A fine or very fine piece may bring $1,000 to $2,000. But in top condition, the value explodes. An MS-68 red sold for $146,500. An MS66, red brought $268,900. And the single finest MS67, red stunned collectors when it realized $407,250. Errors exist too. A double die obverse 1909 S VDB brought $152,600. An off-center strike with the initials still visible sold for $176,400. And a rare die cap error hit $201,700. These mistakes show that even in the first year of issue, the mint produced treasures worth six figures. Auction records underline its power. Novice VDB in MS65. Red sold for $146,500. Another in MS66. Red hit $268,900. The record MS67. Red hammered for $407,250. Even brown and red-brown examples in top grades can bring $50,000 to $100,000. No matter the color, collectors compete fiercely. Historically, this coin is tied to controversy. When Brenner's initials VDB appeared in bold letters on the reverse, the public and some officials claimed it looked like advertising. Within weeks, the mint ordered the initials removed. That decision created an ultra-low mintage at San Francisco before the change, leaving just 484,000 VDB cents in existence. Over a century later, that controversy still fuels demand. Where can you find them? They rarely show up in circulation today. Most are locked in collections or held by major dealers. Estate sales and old coin albums sometimes reveal examples. But authentication is critical because counterfeits are common. If you believe you have one, never clean it. Submit it to PCGS or NGC. A cleaned or altered coin may only bring a few $100s. A certified gem, however, can command six figures. Selling depends on grade. Lower grade examples may sell on eBay or through coin shops. But mid to high grade 1909S, VDB cents, especially red examples, must go through heritage auctions, Stax Bowers, or great collections, where collectors push values to their limits. Here's the value ladder. Circulated examples, $1,000 to $2,000. An MS65 red sold for $146,500. An MS66 red reached $268,900. The record MS67 red brought $407,250. A double die error sold for $152,600. An off-center struck piece reached $176,400. And a die cap error sold for $207,700. The lesson is simple. The 1909 S VDB Lincoln cent isn't just a rare coin. It's a cornerstone of American numismatics. With its low mintage, historic controversy, and six-figure sales, it remains one of the most desired US coins of all time. So check inherited collections. Look through old wheat cent albums. A small penny with three little letters, VDB, could be worth $407,250. That is the story of the 1909 S VDB Lincoln cent, born from controversy, struck in tiny numbers, and today, a six-figure icon of American coin collecting. World War II was raging. America needed copper for ammunition, shell casings, and wartime equipment. To save the metal, the US Mint made a radical change. The Lincoln cent was struck in steel, coated with zinc. It was the only year in US history where cents were made from this metal. That decision created one of the most famous rarities in American coinage. The 1943 copper cent, along with steel cents that collectors still hunt today. Start with the basics. The 1943 cent features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, and the wheat reverse by Frank Gasparo. Each steel cent weighs 2.7 grams, slightly lighter than the normal 3.11 gram copper cents. They measure 19 millimeters. Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco struck them in huge numbers, over 1 billion in total. The ordinary 1943 steel cent is common. Circulated examples are worth a few cents. High-grade examples can bring more. An MS68 steel cent from Philadelphia sold for $18,600. An MS68D red-tinted example realized $41,200. And an MS69 steel cent shocked bidders when it reached $92,750. That's serious money for a coin most people think is worthless. But the real legends are the 1943 copper cents. A small number was struck by accident. When leftover copper planchets from 1942 were fed into the presses, these are the coins that changed numismatics forever. En 1943, copper cent from Philadelphia sold for $218. Cent. En 1943, copper brought $329,000. And the rarest, the 1943 S copper, sold for $470–100. These sales turned pennies into six-figure treasures. Errors make the year even more exciting. En 1943, steel cent struck on a silver dime plancher sold for $146–200. Another struck on a nickel plancher brought $138–500, and a dramatic off-metal 1943D struck on a bronze plancher reached $375,000. These error coins prove how unpredictable the mint could be in wartime. Auction records tell the story best. A 1943p copper in MS-63 Brown brought $218,750. A 1943 D copper in MS-64 Red Brown hit $329,000. The 1943S copper in MS-63 Brown sold for $407–100, and the finest known 1943 D copper in MS-65 Red Brown hammered for $1,084–250, more than $1 million for a penny. Historically, 1943 matters because it reflects America's wartime sacrifices. The copper shortage forced the mint to use steel. The switch solved one problem, but created another. The coins rusted, stained, and confused people who mistook them for dimes. The public disliked them, and by 1944, copper returned. But the one-year experiment made 1943 unforgettable. So where can you find them? Ordinary steel cents still appear in jars, bankrolls, and flea markets. High-grade examples often come from uncirculated rolls. The copper cents, however, are ultra-rare. They sometimes appear in estate sales, old collections, or forgotten coin boxes. If you think you have one, don't clean it. Test it with a magnet. Steel cents will stick, copper cents won't. If it doesn't stick, and it's dated 1943, you might be holding a life-changing coin. Submit it to PCGS or NGC immediately. Selling depends on the coin. Ordinary steel cents sell easily on eBay, often in lots or rolls. Certified high-grade steel cents and any copper. Examples must go through major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections. That's where six-figure collectors compete. Let's review the numbers. A Philadelphia steel cent in MS-68 sold for $18,600. A Denver MS-68 brought $40,200, and MS-69 steel cent hit $92,750. A 1943 P copper realized $218,750. A 1943 D copper sold for $329,000. 1943S copper hit $470–100, and the record 1943 D copper, certified MS-65 Red Brown, shattered expectations at $1,084–250. The lesson is clear. The 1943 Lincoln cent is a perfect example of how history and rarity combine to create value. Ordinary steel cents are affordable, but the copper errors are some of the most famous six-figure coins in existence. So check your jars. Look at every 1943 penny. If it sticks to a magnet, it's steel. If it doesn't, it could be worth $1,084–250. That is the story of the 1943 Lincoln cent, a wartime experiment, a legendary rarity, and a coin that turned pocket change into $1 million treasure. America was at the height of the space race. Neil Armstrong had just taken mankind's first steps on the moon. Back on Earth, the US Mint in San Francisco struck one of the most talked about pennies in American history, the 1969 S Lincoln cent. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary cent. Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse still featured the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. Each coin weighed 3.11 grams of copper, alloy, and measured 19 millimeters in diameter. Over 544 million were struck at the San Francisco Mint. But hidden among those hundreds of millions are some of the most valuable pennies ever discovered. The ordinary 1969 S penny in circulated condition is worth just a cent. Even uncirculated examples often sell for only a few dollars. But collectors hunt this year for one reason. The famous 1969 S double die obverse. On this variety, the doubling is bold and dramatic. The word liberty shows clear separation. The motto, "In God We Trust," appears doubled. The date 1969 looks like it was struck twice. This doubling is so strong you don't need magnification to see it. It is one of the most dramatic double dies in US coinage. When it first surfaced in the late 1960s, the US Secret Service actually thought these coins were counterfeits. That's how unusual they appeared. After investigation, they were confirmed as genuine mint errors, and they became instant legends. Now, the prices. A 1979 Double die obverse in MS64. Red sold for $126,500. Another example in MS65. Red realized $178,200. And MS66 red shocked bidders at $326,750. And the finest known MS67 red brought a record $601,100. That's over $500,000 for a penny. But the story doesn't stop there. Even circulated examples of this double die are valuable. A VF35 example sold for $24. 150 and XF40 realized $42,000, and an AU55 example reached $55,500. Condition matters, but any genuine 1969S double die is a life-changing coin. Besides the double die, there are other varieties worth noting. Some 1969S cents show repunched mint marks, known as RPMs. These are collectible and can sell for $50 to $500, depending on grade. Errors also exist. A $1.79 cent struck off center by 30%, sold for $200. Another struck on a dime plancher brought $5.1750, and a dramatic clipped plancher example reached $100. Auction history proves the demand. Heritage Auctions has handled multiple six-figure sales. Stack's Bowers has seen examples climb past 300,000. Collectors know that when a 1969S double die hits the market, it will never go cheap. Historically, the 1969S reflects a key moment in American coinage. By the late 1960s, the San Francisco Mint focused heavily on proof coinage. Regular strike coins like the 1969S cent often suffered from weak strikes. That makes high-grade survivors scarce. Add in the double die, and you get a perfect storm of rarity and value. So how can you find one? First, check every 1969 penny with an S mint mark. Look closely at Liberty, the motto, and the date. If the doubling is sharp and clear, you may have it. Be careful. Machine doubling is common on 1969 S cents, but it does not add value. Genuine double dies show bold, separated letters. If you suspect you have one, do not clean it. Submit it to PCGS or NGC for authentication. Even in low grades, it will command thousands. In mint state, it could bring hundreds of thousands. Selling depends on the coin. Common 1969 S cents sell easily on eBay or in rolls. Varieties and RPMs can go through specialized collectors' auctions. But if you have the double die, only major auction houses like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections will maximize its value. Let's review the numbers. A VF35 sold for $24,150. An XF40 brought $42,000. An AU55 realized $55,500. An MS64 red sold for $126,500. An MS65 red hit $178,200. An MS66 red shocked the market at $326,750. And the record MS67 red sold for $601,100. The 1969S double die obverse is proof that even a modern-looking penny can hide six-figure value. Millions of people have overlooked it, but the few who discovered one changed their financial futures. So check your change. Look at every 1969S penny. If you see bold doubling, you might be holding a coin worth $601,100. That is the story of the 1969S Lincoln cent, a common penny, a dramatic double die, and a coin that turned pocket change into $500,000.